What's up, superfans? It is Fit Nerd from Superheroes Ultimate. Let's discuss Aquaman. If you're new to this channel, then hit the subscribe button and hit the notifications button so you can stay updated in the here and now in the superhero world. With all of the false hope that we have had within the DCEU, with the latest movies from Batman vs Superman and the Justice League, things have been a little bit grim if you're a DC fan. And it is the cause for a lot of nerd debates. But look no further, the Aquaman is here to rescue the day and has rekindled my DC love for the movies. Yeah! And after watching this movie, I can see a lot of the references to the New 52 version of Aquaman. But here's the thing, you can see a lot of the references to the New 52 storyline of Aquaman with the hardcore look and seriousness of the 1990s version of Aquaman, when Peter David was writing the comics for Aquaman. Now in the 1990s, Aquaman was this hardcore, harpoon-handed, badass version of Aquaman, which a lot of fans fell in love with. Jason Momoa totally fits the bill of the 1990s look of Aquaman, with the beard and the long hair and the badass suit. I will say that the beginning of the movie felt a little bit choppy. The whole romance of Aquaman's parents was maybe about 5 minutes long, which I feel like they could have done a little bit longer. But it almost felt similar to the Man of Steel when we got the flashback of Superman's parents and we saw his father just flying around. I feel like the Man of Steel did a better job at showing the parents or giving us some backstory to the parents than Aquaman did. But need not worry, the writing does get hella better when you keep on watching the movie and you see the Jason Momoa Aquaman that we saw in the Justice League, because it's a direct continuation from the Justice League.
You took a hell of a hit. You alright?
At last, the firstborn of beloved Queen Atlanta. Wait! Please. I knew her.
Well, that makes one of us.
When my parents fought in the wars, she took me in.
What a saint.
You dare speak of Queen Atlanta that way?
Your queen left me on my father's doorstep and never gave me another thought.
Your mother left you to save your life. Cannot imagine how it hurt her. What it cost her. But you're not a defenseless child now. It would have been her responsibility to follow that monster to the surface and stop it. Now, it's yours.
Following the romance of Aquaman's parents, then we actually get Aquaman being the Aquaman already. He's already going out and saving people in the submarine. Like, that trailer that we saw was actually one of the first things that we see in the movie, which is awesome because they didn't give away a lot in the trailer.
Permission to come aboard.
And the way they kept on showing the flashbacks of him in his childhood was very relative to the way and the style of the Man of Steel movie, in how they showed a young Clark Kent. There's a lot of similarities between the Man of Steel and Aquaman. James Wan definitely studied the Man of Steel in how they did the flashbacks for Clark Kent and becoming Superman, and when he was a young kid and he was developing his powers and when he was learning that he had all these crazy abilities. Aquaman has a similar story, and he was raised by good-hearted parents, except he only had one parent being raised instead of two like Clark Kent. Both of them learned love and compassion from humans. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the New 52 version of Aquaman, do yourself a favor and watch Justice League Throne of Atlantis. It is the entire storyline of the New 52 Aquaman in a nutshell, and that movie is freaking amazing. In my opinion, I really think that if they're going into multiple sequels with Aquaman, which is definitely doable, they can definitely lead into the Peter David version of Aquaman. When he has a son, he's already a king, and he has to save his son by chopping off his hand.
My love, you're safe.
And so is our son.
The romance of Arthur Curry and Mira was much better developed than the parents. And a lot of people keep on doing a comparison between the Little Mermaid and Mira and how she's the Little Mermaid, or how that she resembles the Little Mermaid. Screw you guys. If anything, it's not like the Little Mermaid. It's like the Lion King. Okay, guys? It's definitely like the Lion King. We have a young cub, grew up wanting to be the damn king, and then all of a sudden he doesn't want to be king when he's older because he just hates the whole responsibility thing. He doesn't want to take over. He doesn't want to do it. Mira is Nala coming to Simba, which is Arthur, telling him, you need to come back, you need to be the king, you need to rule his people. Simba, Arthur, doesn't want to go back. Basically, his half-brother is the uncle that takes over, becomes king, runs amok over everything. So he has to come back and challenge his uncle, his brother, to take over the kingdom. But yeah, not the Little Mermaid. It's totally like the freaking Lion King, folks. Then we have William Dafoe. What is it to say? I mean, it's William Dafoe. He's always awesome. You've seen him in the Spider-Man days. Been a villain. Over here, he's the right-hand man of the king, which is basically betraying the king because his loyalty lies to the queen versus this douchebag. And speaking about douchebags in this movie, we have the Ocean Master, played by Patrick Wilson. He does an excellent job at being the villain in this movie. You could really feel his fury over the humans, and at some instances you actually agree with what he's saying, because you can see that humans, okay, in the movie they basically sent out a message that humans do suck. We don't treat the oceans like we should, but they don't overdo it as far as trying to really just make the movie about that message. They put the message in there. You basically just take a note of it, like, oh yeah, that's also what humans do. We treat the oceans badly. We trash it. We pollute it, and this is a reason why the Atlanteans are really pissed off. And the whole message when the tidal waves come through and it just knocks off all the ships and the garbage, and how the professor is the only one that realizes that only the battleships and the garbage are the ones that that came in the tidal waves and pushed out of the sea. And I'll be honest, I kind of agree with the Ocean Master that he basically just wanted to send out a message, but not to the point that he wanted to destroy everyone. And of course that's what the whole plot is about, is that it's almost like Thanos, where Thanos wants to do good by doing a lot of harm, or in an extremely harsh way. And of course, if you're gonna take on the surface world, who better to team up with than Rocky IV's villain? Alright, I kept on seeing him, but it's literally like, I'll break you, with red hair. Even though he knew that the submarine was a complete just staged event, he was like, alright, screw it, I'm gonna just use this as an excuse to go with the war with the humans too. And I love the fact when Mira went up to Aquaman and is trying to persuade him to be the hero that he's supposed to be, to take over Atlantis and be the king that he needs to be. I love how she mentions that you defeated Steppenwolf. So we know for a fact that this took place post Justice League. Then we have, which is basically the nemesis of, or a nemesis of Aquaman, which is Black Manta. Over here, they made him into a high-tech pirate that is in alliance or works for the Atlanteans. Although he had his epic fight with Aquaman, I think it was very short-lived and very underutilized, and I guess it's just a setup for the sequel, that he will be more of a bigger player against Aquaman. Overall, the best part of this movie, anytime they're under the sea and you see the visuals of this movie are so kick-ass. You see all these types of creatures and different technology, in that duel between Aquaman and Orm in the Ring of Fire was just such a freaking awesome fight. Their movements were just crazy.
One of the things that I really appreciate the most about this character is the fact that he's a very human superhero. The things that sort of troubles him or affects his emotion and all that, is one that I think a lot of us can relate to. I think fans are gonna see an Aquaman that is quite unlike anything they've seen before.
That was awesome.
My initial interest in this character was the fact that he was a superhero that hasn't been done that often before. The opportunity to go in there not with sort of expectations that I've already kind of laid in place meant that it allows me as an artist to just kind of play with it a bit more and just kind of create things and bring things to this character that that people love but might not have seen him to this degree. In the comic book, they got to explore the monstrous world, the underwater creature, and for me, going to the film, I really wanted to embrace just how most of us all feel about the ocean. On one hand, it is majestic, it is magical, and it is unlike anything we've ever seen before, right? But on the other hand, it's also very terrifying and it's scary and we don't know what's down there. And I love the idea of like these two sort of separate philosophy thinking kind of like coming together in this film.
And towards the end of the movie, when you see Jason Momoa in the full getup as Aquaman, like he is that is the 1990s version of Aquaman with the long hair and the goatee, and you just see him standing there like with his trident and just all badass. Oh man, like you could see that this could lead into the future when he has his kid and he gets into the older version of Aquaman. I love this movie. This is definitely going to be a repeat watch movie. The visuals alone are just freaking epic to go and watch and see Atlantis come to life. James Wan, with his vision and being a visionary and being so intricate with detail, put him on more projects for DC. God damn it, he is the hero for DCEU. He can make this happen. This is exactly what we expected out of the Justice League. Now what are you waiting for? Go watch this damn movie. This movie is freaking good. This just shows that there is hope for the DC Extended Universe. And I, for one, vote for James Wan as the leader for the future projects of DCEU. What do you think? And of course, superfans, if you want to be entered to win the Captain Marvel collectible from my private collection, then hit the subscribe button and comment below. This is Fit Nerd, over and out.
3, 2, 1,